On Tuesday, Donald Trump quickly transitioned from the courtroom to the campaign trail, highlighting how the 2024 election has devolved into a mere tool in his criminal defense strategy, rather than a chance to address the most pressing issues facing the American people. Trump quickly moved to a Cuban cafe in Miami, where he soaked up the adoration of supporters while they sang happy birthday. This came after he scowled in crossed-arm silence, as he became the first former president to be charged with crimes by the federal government. Today, we saw the most heinous and evil abuse of power in our nation's history. Another time, Trump chose to ignore the facts and said, "Very sad to watch, the corrupt sitting president had his top political opponent arrested on false and fabricated charges of which he and many other presidents would be guilty, right in the middle of a presidential election in which he's losing very badly." The former president, who attempted to rig the 2020 election, accused President Joe Biden and a group of outcasts and Marxists of interfering with the election and waging a campaign of political repression, akin to that of a fascist or communist country. Additionally, he falsely claimed he had the authority to hold on to confidential records that belonged to the US government. His comments were some of the most terrifying and demagogic ones ever made by a significant figure in American history. And on a somber day in the history of the country, they said everything there was to say about the former president and the contentious spectacle that lies ahead as he runs for the White House, while dogged by 2 criminal charges, to which he has pleaded not guilty and may still face others. Trump's defiance only served to confirm the notion that he holds the law in low regard. He once again prioritized his immediate political and personal needs over the interests of the country, by oblivious to the seriousness of the situation he had caused, a pattern that is evident in the disorganized storage of classified documents in a bathroom, ballroom, and shower. Secrets relating to the American nuclear program were among the information. Trump's ability to put on a show helped a campaign that was already built on the idea that he was the innocent victim of a politicized justice system. Hours before turning 77, Trump was overheard saying in the Cuban restaurant, "Some birthday, we got a government that is out of control." This kind of victimization motif has long been at the heart of Trump's populist appeal based on grievances. He is attempting to undermine the organizations that are responsible for holding him accountable once more, hoping to motivate GOP voters, and even influence the makeup of the Florida jury pool in the future. However, Tuesday's political performance demonstrated that this tactic is more than just a political gimmick. It exposed a more nuanced, emerging reality regarding the 2024 election. Trump's legal defense plan and election campaign are now inseparable. His campaign to retake the White House has evolved into a self-preservation effort, rather than a purely political one. As his legal battles drag on, his main focus appears to be regaining the presidential power that could enable him to remove any potential for criminal liability, including the threat of jail time if found guilty. Van Jones, a political commentator for CNN, said on The Let on Tuesday, "He's not running to save America, he's running to save himself, and if that means tearing down the judicial system and special counsel, he'll do it." There will be significant repercussions for Trump and his rivals as a result of this unprecedented dominance of an American presidential election by a major candidate's personal legal situation. After the Hillary Clinton email scandal in 2016 and Trump's false claims about voter fraud in 2020, it means that a third consecutive US presidential election will be tainted by investigations or allegations of criminal wrongdoing involving major candidates. If Trump wins the GOP nomination in 2024, there may be a criminal stench hanging over the election until November of the following year. In light of this, it is likely that the democratic process will continue to suffer setbacks to his credibility, at least in the eyes of the millions of Trump supporters who believe his propaganda. For GOP rivals who have largely failed to find a way to define themselves against the former president without alienating many of his supporters, Trump's decision to make the entire Republican primary about his legal problems is a conundrum. The alleged crimes detailed in Special Counsel Jack Smith's indictment are so serious that those rallying around Trump must overlook the potentially grave threats to national security posed by his careless handling of classified information. Other candidates may find it difficult to shift the conversation away from Trump and toward other issues that GOP voters want addressed, such as immigration and woke policies that they believe are undermining traditional American culture. As they scramble to defend him, Trump is also placing some influential party leaders in a difficult position. Before even reading the charges, some people, like House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, denounced the indictment as an instance of political persecution. This should come as no surprise. After all, in January 2021, just hours after Trump incited a mob to attack the US Capitol in an effort to retain power following an election he lost, a sizable number of House Republicans voted against certifying Biden's victory. However, some GOP leaders are becoming increasingly concerned about the seriousness of the alleged offenses. Nikki Haley, a former governor of South Carolina, cautiously entered this political arena this week when she stated that if the allegations against Trump are accurate, he was incredibly reckless. She followed up on Tuesday by saying she'd be inclined to pardon him if she won the presidency, reflecting the dilemma Trump's opponents face. The other candidate, former Vice President Mike Pence, told the Wall Street Journal, "I can't defend what is alleged." The seriousness of the allegations is reflected in the willingness of GOP primary contenders to attack Trump, but it also may indicate that they believe Trump is becoming more politically exposed as a result of the allegations. Similar arguments are being made by a few other Republicans. To CNN's Dana Bash, Republican Rep. Ken Buck, a leader of the House Freedom Caucus, said, "There were national security implications from having documents in an unsecure area." The lawmaker from Colorado continued, "I think that the prosecutor really went into a lot of detail to explain to the American public why it was necessary to indict a former president." Representative Steve Womack of Arkansas, a fellow Republican, cited Trump's reckless disregard for sensitive information. He told CNN's Manu Raju that how you handle our country's secrets is of paramount importance. Conservative House Republicans are currently the only ones voicing these views, but they reflect growing concerns about Trump's qualification to serve as president. Trump's decision to combine his campaign for president with his criminal defense raises serious concerns about his own chances. Due to the fact that they are required to appear at numerous hearings even before a trial, criminal defendants discover that their time and schedule are increasingly at the whim of the courts. Trump's political schedule might be completely disrupted as a result of this. In a Manhattan case involving a hush money payment to a former adult film star, he pleaded not guilty to falsifying business records. He is already scheduled to go on trial in March of next year, during the height of primary season. By the end of the summer, Trump will probably also learn whether he will be charged in connection with a district attorney in Georgia named Fani Willis's investigation into his attempts to steal Biden's victory in the crucial swing state of Georgia in the 2020 presidential election. Aside from the logistical challenges, there is another query raised by Trump's plan and his Tuesday night rhetoric. The Republican voters want to fully support a campaign that focuses almost entirely on his personal complaints and legal situation. Trump hasn't really provided much of a campaign message to GOP voters on the economy, healthcare, national security, education, and other important issues, aside from warning that he is taking heat from the Justice Department to shield his supporters. His fighter's mentality and disregard for the law are at the heart of his appeal, but in recent years, his personality cult has tended to overshadow the party's ideological priorities. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, one of his main GOP opponents, has attempted to make this point by claiming that as president, he would be far more successful in enacting Make America Great Again political priorities. In a general election, the importance of Trump's campaign of grievances might become even more significant. In order to win back the suburban swing voters he alienated in 2020, the former president already faced a difficult challenge. Attempting to win them back with a campaign that appears to be a personal crusade to avoid going to jail could make the task even more challenging.